What's up, Fackers? We are back counting down our top 101 fantasy football players for the 2020 NFL season. We are at number 98. That is Aaron Rodgers, quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. I know what you're thinking, a little bit low for Aaron Rodgers here, but we will get to that, why he is that low on our list. He is our number 11 ranked quarterback. Last year, he finished as quarterback number 9. A few of his stats last year, he threw for 4,002 yards, 26 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. Also added 46 carries for 183 yards and 1 touchdown. He scored 287.38 fantasy points, which gives him an average of 18 fantasy points per game. All right, so Aaron Rodgers, QB number 11 for us. I have a few reasons why he is that low for me, because that's probably the lowest he's ever been ranked preseason. Has to be, since he took over the job. So first thing, Aaron Rodgers, we don't think of him as this old guy like Tom Brady, Drew Brees. He's 36 years old. He's going to be 36 years old when the season starts, okay? He got kind of a late start in Green Bay. So he's 36 years old, and he is trending down as far as his fantasy placement goes at end of the year rankings. Okay, we're used to him being a top 3 quarterback. Okay, 2 years ago, he was the number 6 quarterback. We just said last year he was number 9. He is trending down in that direction. Okay. The Packers have newly started to rely on that run game. Aaron Jones emerged last year as a top 10 running back. So I think they will rely on him even more this year to kind of shoulder the load. And then if we just look at his total pass attempts, the last 4 years, he's thrown 572, 600, but then we're seeing a decline, goes down to 590, last year 569, okay? Pass attempts are slowly declining every season. So just taking all those things into consideration, I just think he's just not that top of the line guy that we're used to seeing with Aaron Rodgers anymore.
No, and for me personally, like when it comes to drafting Aaron Rodgers, because that's really what we're talking about, like where you're going to take him in the draft. Like, okay, there's probably 6, maybe 7 quarterbacks I'm taking: Lamar Jackson, Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray, Deshaun Watson, Josh Allen, maybe Dak Prescott. But then my whole strategy
Spoiler
going
alert
into
to the rest of our rankings.
no. But I'm going like as far as if I were to take Aaron Rodgers next year, I would just pair him with someone. Draft him late, he's gonna fall. Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, I would feel okay at quarterback. Carson Wentz, Aaron Rodgers, I'd feel okay. You can get one of those late guys, but Aaron Rodgers is definitely taking a dive. Like he's fallen out of the top 5 where he was usually a staple there for what, 5, 6, 7, 8 years?
10.
10
Just
years,
about.
yeah. That's crazy.
Can you tell me where he got drafted last year in our league?
Last year he was picked in the 5th round.
Okay. So I am at like he should be going around that same spot then, because if you look at his stats, it's not that much different than when he did in 2018. He threw for 400 less yards, but other than that, threw around the same amount of touchdowns, had the same completion percentage, same QB rating. The only difference was, like you mentioned, they're running the ball a lot more in Green Bay, and I think he might take a dive only because QB is just getting stacked now. There's so many QBs out
That's
there
the
that you can
point.
draft.
That's
But
what I was going to say.
he
Yeah.
was 10th in fantasy points for quarterbacks last year. Like Carson Wentz, Mahomes, Kyler Murray, Josh Allen, Watson, they all beat him. Jameis Winston beat him. Dak Prescott, Lamar Jackson, obviously.
Yeah,
But
but
like
a lot of people are focusing on, they think he's declining as a QB, which I don't think he is. I think he's still a great
No.
QB.
He had to be number 1 in the league, and besides maybe Jackson, number 1 in QB rating last year with 26 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions.
Yeah.
We're not talking about that he's declining as a quarterback. We're just talking in fantasy terms.
fantasy.
But there was a lot of
Yes.
talk last year, though, that he was declining as a quarterback, which I don't think that's correct.
I don't think that's the case at all.
Yeah.
No.
So if you're worried, if you're worried about Devontae Adams maybe declining this year, I think he still can put up the same production for Devontae that he could in previous years. But
Well, I
it's
think
just
you said it
Go ahead.
perfectly. It's the depth of the quarterback position in terms of fantasy.
Yeah.
Yes, and
There's
like but
so
that's
many good quarterbacks available for like like you said, we have him ranked number 11. These 10 guys I have ahead of him, I consider them better fantasy quarterbacks for this year. There's some guys right after Aaron Rodgers that I have in the rankings that I could see scoring more than him, but that doesn't mean Aaron Rodgers is going to have a bad year.
Yes, exactly. Like there's guys like Matt Ryan, Tom Brady with the Bucks now, Garoppolo, Kirk Cousins. I guess you could throw him in there. Tannehill, Drew Brees. Like these are guys still that the same value is going to be there. If you pair them with Aaron Rodgers, I have no problem with that. But if Aaron Rodgers is my only quarterback next year, I'm a little worried. I'd like to take someone with some upside.
So that is an interesting strategy. Bring up the pairing of quarterbacks. I'll just look to what my thinking was last year in the draft. I took Drew Brees and then I paired him up with Lamar Jackson late. Now, obviously, that ended up working out for a different reason because Lamar Jackson was the best fantasy quarterback of all time last year for single season.
And Drew Brees
But
got hurt.
I felt like if you get a guy like Brees or this year Rodgers, then that gives you a chance to take a chance on somebody later in the draft because you know you have a solid baseline. And then, like you said, you could pair them up with somebody. And just when you come to the end of the year, if they're both performing well, which was the case for Brees and Lamar last year, you flip one of them.
Yes.
It
But
works out.
see, okay, so Aaron Rodgers threw 4,000 yards, 26 touchdowns, 4 picks. Dak Prescott threw 5,000 yards, 30 touchdowns, and 11 picks. I mean,
And if we're not talking fantasy, who would you say is the better quarterback?
Aaron Rodgers, if we're not
Exactly.
talking fantasy.
Yeah.
But in fantasy terms, Dak Prescott kicked his ass last year.
Exactly. I mean, he scored, what,
So
60
there's
more
two
points?
different conversations, but we're mostly talking about his fantasy value.
Yes.
So this year
And
you're
see,
taking Dak before him then?
I'm taking Dak
probably.
100% before Aaron Rodgers, yes.
But see, the thing with quarterbacks last year too, number 6 was Josh Allen. He had 297. You can go all the way down to number 11. It was a 281. That's 16 points separating 6 to 11. So
So who would you
So
take? Would you take Matt Ryan before Aaron Rodgers?
I would pair them. That'd be a good pairing, I would
I
think,
don't know how
because
you
you can get them
compare
both
Aaron
late.
Rodgers because you're. I think they're both going to go around the same round, so that means you're going back-to-back quarterbacks almost.
Yeah,
And
but it'd
basically,
probably be in the 9th or 10th round.
like I kind of explained, when I think of pairing, my strategy is take a solid guy,
Yeah.
but then pair him with just maybe an off the wall,
yeah, a
just
guy that
super
might not
sleeper.
even get drafted.
Or like my guy, Matt Stafford. If he falls and you did Aaron Rodgers, Matt Stafford, I think you're set.
Well, see, I still think of Stafford as just another one of those solid guys.
Stafford
Well,
is
see,
Matt Ryan is Aaron
dude,
Rodgers.
Stafford had 2,500 yards, 19 touchdowns, 5 picks, and he only played 8 games last year, half a season. I mean, he was on pace for 5,000 yards, almost 40 touchdowns, and 10 picks. That's
Now, what
pretty
you could
good.
do, and what I think Ryan might do, is maybe you take Rodgers or this Stafford or Ryan, and then you pair him with a Daniel Jones
Yeah,
later in the draft.
there you go.
Someone like that has a ton of upside, but could also fail miserably.
And you know who's falling too? Big Ben. And Big Ben still put up numbers last season he played.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about his return at some point, but
yeah. Yeah,
so
good little talk
that's
about
it.
Rodgers there.
Aaron Rodgers, our number 98 overall player, our 11th ranked quarterback going into the 2020 fantasy football season. Yeah.
Britt.
Oh, fuck it.